Namaskar. Welcome to the lesson number 7 under chapter Analysis Methodology. In this lesson, I'm going to tell you about the 7 steps in analyzing a planet. 7 steps in method of analysis a planet for its complete significations. In the previous lesson, I was telling you about the basic method of analysis. Based on that, what are the steps are involved? They're given step by step for your better reference. What are the 7 steps in method of analyzing a planet, level to level analysis? Step number 1, we have to study the planet. We know that planet, we have to study planet, star lord of the star lord, sublord and star lord of the sublord. At 5 levels, we have to study that we studied in the previous lesson also as a basic method of analysis. Now, as per the steps, step number 1 is studying the self-signification of the planet, that is source planet. Source planet. Step number 2 is studying the star lord and the star lord of the star lord, that is studying the effect. While studying the planet, we'll come to know whether the planet is having favorable houses or unfavorable houses for a particular event. And when we are studying the star lord, whether the star lord is having favorable or unfavorable for a particular event, and we have to study the combined effect of the planet and the star lord in the step number 2. Whether the star lord is increasing or decreasing the support of the planets, favorable or unfavorable. In other words, whatever planet is signifying, what it is going to experience through the star lord, whether it is supporting to the planet significations or not. Star lord of the star lord, as we discussed, star lord of the star lord can be a secondary supportive level, whether it is going to increase the star lord's favorable or unfavorable strength, or increase or decrease. That is coming under effect. Next is the important level called the sublord. Sublord is also a planet that will be in the star of another planet. So sublord planet self-signification we have to study, and that sublord significations are either increased or decreased by the star lord, or the sublord has to be studied. And that sublord and star lord, that star lord and sublord's combined level has to be studied. It means what that star lord is giving, whether sublord is further supporting to that or not. Or planet and star lords combinedly, they are giving some effect, whether that is being further increased or decreased by the sublord. Based on that, only the result is going to be given by the sublord. That sublord strength can be further increased or decreased by the star lord or the sublord. So that way, combined level of the star lord and sublord has to be studied. In addition to that, we can also look into the impact of the star lord or the star lord and the sublord. Because while you are studying all levels, the consequent levels, because star lord of the star lord, then comes the sublord. So star lord of the star lord, if it is favorable and sublord is also favorable, it is going to be more favorable. Suppose star lord of the star lord is unfavorable, but star lord sublord is also unfavorable, that unfavorable impact is going to be more. So that way, whether sublord is getting some support from the star lord of the star lord, or star lord of the star lord is further supported by the sublord, that also can be studied to know some additional supports. So studying each planet's source, effect, and result, and their combined effect by way of step 1, step 2, and step 3. After that, once we studied that, combined level house grouping at all levels from the planet to the last level, what are the house grouping it is forming? Whether planet is supported with the star lord, sublord, that is one point. But suppose a planet can be star lord, sublord are all favorable to the planet. But if you look at the grouping of the houses involved from the planet to the star lord to the sublord, there may or may not be a good house grouping required for the particular event. So the grouping of houses, the grouping chain, house grouping chain, favorable or unfavorable if they are present, based on that, that overall combined level signification strength also will vary. So step number 4 is looking into the combined level house grouping strength, house grouping study. I hope you have understood. That is, the step 1 to 4 is connected to the self-signification of the all the planets, individual level and combined level and overall combined level forming the house grouping. This is up to September 4. Next comes the step number 5. Step number 5 is connected to the support planets. Each planets having got some support planets in its supports. And what are the planets are there in supports? What are they going to give some impact to the planet? That we have to study. Because a planet can have some mixed signification for an event. But in the support, it can have a very good favorable key planet, or more than one or two may be there. They will definitely increase the strength of favorable strength of the particular planet. So planet favorable strength can be increased by the support planet's favorable strength. So that can be, because of the support, that favorable strength, suppose a mixed planet, unfavorable strength will be reduced by the favorable key planets and favorable strength of the mixed planet can be increased. So that has to be studied. What are the support planets a planet is having at each level and whether it is further supported by the ruler's link. What is ruler's link as we discussed? If your support planet is also ruling the other level, its impact is going to be increased because it is also a ruler. That is called a ruler's link. So the impact of the support planets and also the role of the ruler's link, they're all coming under the step number 5. So step number 4 is up to the signification of the planet rulers only. Step number 5 connecting to the supportive planets, supports planets and their rulers link, and comes the step number 6. Step number 6 is combined. We have to, what sort of output a planet is going to get in combination with this step number 4 and 5. I'm repeating, step number 4 is the house grouping, all levels house grouping from planet to the last level only with the self-signification of all the rulers, wherein the ruler supports are not considered. In step number 5, supports are considered. So what the impact these planets are going to get because of these supports and ruler link, that because of that, there can be some sort of modification in the strength in the step number 4. So step number 6 is all levels house grouping along with the support planets and rulers links impact. As I said, one planet, suppose sublord can be, star lord is good, sublord can have some sort of weakness. It can have some favorable, but not to the to the good extent. It can have some unfavorable houses also. But in the support, if it is having very good favorable key planets, that is also given by the other ruler. Suppose planet itself is a very good key planet, that itself in the supports and that is forming ruler link and giving support to the sublord, the sublord's favorable strength will be increased so that that planet at this sub level, though it is having some weakness in its self-signification, through the supports and ruler link, that strength is being increased. So step number 6 is important. We'll finding the final output strength of the planet. So up to 1 to 6 is on the total signification of a planet. Then comes the step number 6. Step number 7. Step number 7 is nothing to do with the studying self-signification, a planet total signification strength, but it is importantly connected to the Dasa, Bugdi, Antra predictions. Because normally when we'll be studying a planet, we'll be studying for a planet, basically it is a Dasa Lord or Bugdi Lord or Antra Lord or Sukshma Lord. So based on the 1 to 6 steps, we can come to know what that planet is having in its total significations, favorable for the event or unfavorable or mixed. But that planet's output, the result what it can give, can vary depending on its role as the Dasa or Bugdi or Antra. Because a planet, if it is acting as the Bugdi Lord, suppose Mercury is the Bugdi Lord, if it is having mixed significator, in up to the 6th steps, we can say it is having both. So that Mercury can give mixed, or it can be having some unfavorable, or it can be favorable also. But suppose Mercury as a Bugdi Lord under Jupiter Dasa, and suppose Mercury as the Bugdi Lord under the Saturn Dasa. So that Bugdi Lord Mercury, we cannot expect same impact what Mercury can give under Jupiter. We cannot, get from the Saturn. There can be some difference. Why? This is all based on the Dasa significations also, and also the connection, the pilt connection between the Dasa and Bhukti. When I'm going to explain you with an separate lesson on the pilt connection and how to study the pilt connection in the software, I'll be explaining in detail. But since it is coming under the steps, I'm explaining. I'm just briefing about the step number 7. This is a very important step in EPS, and that is most important to brief about that one here. Please understand, each planet signification strength up to the 6 steps will not be equally playing the same way as a Buddhi or Antra for other planets, because that has got some other connection that is called a pilt connection between the Dasa, Buddhi, Antra. The connection between the Dasa, Buddhi, that based on the connection, that Buddhis in that output there can be some variation. Similarly, Antra and Buddhi. So that way, the pilt connection between the Dasa, Buddhi, Antra, what is pilt on everything I will explain as I say, but you please understand step number 7 is for the pilt connection between the Dasa, Buddhi, Antra. This is important. Okay, I hope you would have understood the important steps, that what are the steps, 7 steps involved in analyzing a planet's total signification. So a planet to be studied by way of 7 steps. So in the next lesson, I will be explaining in detail for each step with some examples for your better understanding. Thank you so much.